was listening to an interesting podcast with Dawn Lester, and she's interviewing a practitioner of homeopathic medicine, which to me is and should be essentially the starting point for anybody who's considering an avenue of healing and therapy and helping people to return to holistic health based on what the premise, as far as I understand it, and I haven't done a lot of research into it yet, but I plan to, because it's one of these baseline things that starts with the truth that your body is by default healing and adapting at all times. That's all it does, that's all it wants to do, and it does it automatically without you prompting, pushing, poking, and prodding. It does it regardless of inputs and injections and pills and therapies and everything outside that you think you need to do to initiate healing. All these things are inverted and backward, as usual with virtually everything in our inverted clown world. And we've been trained to think in such a way because of Western medicine and the allopathic model, which continues to do massive harm, which continues to be one of the top 5 leading causes of death year after year after year after year. And yet, you have an entire population that's been so brainwashed and conditioned to believe in it, so terrified by the messaging and narratives put out through media and advertising, and in every story, novel, TV show, movie, constant repetitive lies and messaging that convinces you on the daily that you are weak, frail, that you need pills, surgeries, radiation, therapy, protocols, inputs, etc., that you need something in order to be able to return to a holistic state, that you need something to trick your body, convince your body, reprogram your body to remove something broken from your body, whatever it might be. So these lies are perpetuated every single day, and 100-fold or worse if you live anywhere in urban centers, anywhere around cities where you're exposed to signage, advertising, all of these things. When you walk through your general store, corner store, department store, whatever, everywhere you look, and even where you don't look, your subconscious is picking up on this messaging that's in your periphery everywhere you're walking, especially right when you walk through the doors. All these things that are going to be in primary colors, blue, yellow, red, whatever it might be, that imprints on you instantly. And the more time you spend in these particular environments, the more you are being subtly, cumulatively programmed to believe in these paradigms and these big damn lies. So to get back to the idea of homeopathy, which to me is one of the foundational, actual, legitimate health and wellness practices, and what should be a starting point for anyone looking to pursue a career, if you need to consider such things. I mean, this is a career that should almost be non-existent, because everyone should by default be taught how their body works, what healing is, what wellness is, what symptoms mean, and how to listen to their bodies and to glean information, and how to just simply pay attention to what's going on inside of them or outside, whatever it is, however they're feeling, what's presenting on their skin, inside or outside of their avatar, their body system. Since we're not trained to think of these things, we are trained and conditioned to defer to the white coats. We are trained and conditioned to defer to the cult of the medics. And that is the big damn lie. So if that was realigned, if we were once again educated from childhood the true nature of healing and wellness, there shouldn't be, and there would not be, a multi-trillion-dollar medical industrial complex. I mean, there's red flags right across the board if you're just willing to look at it and see it for what it is. An entire industry, much like all the others, these big 4 or 5, however many, I'm not sure if that's the right number, but all these major centralized businesses, multinational corporations, these behemoths, these multi-trillion-dollar operations are founded and built upon and sustained by big damn lies. For example, as I've been speaking about, medical industrial complex, military industrial complex, the cultural curation industrial complex, the education industrial complex, the financial industrial complex, food, finance. You see what I'm getting at here? All of these major central things, all of these integral things that have been made central and important and prioritized in our society throughout our civilization are propped up on fiction. They're propped up on lies. They're propped up on manufactured existential crises. They're propped up on manufactured conflict. They're propped up on manufactured weaknesses, frailties, needs of the human species. They're propped up on fakery. Right? Every single one of these institutions justify their multi-trillion-dollar inputs and outputs and industries and the whole web of integrated industries based on fiction, right? Every war is based on fiction. Every conflict between nations is based on fiction and lies. Every cultural, religious, or other conflict is based on lies. Every pandemic is based on fiction and lies. Every outbreak, every massive and central and traumatizing and terrifying event is fabricated or founded on complete systemic, ancient, or novel lies, or recycled, repurposed, reworded lies. So when we want to get back and bring it back to homeopathy, one of the most foundational things about a human being, the most foundational things that we think about day to day, our health, our well-being, how we feel, how we are interacting with the world, how we're feeling physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, based on what we eat, based on our environments, based on what we're exposed to, right? Based on our daily experiences. When any one of these things are out of alignment, we will feel it. It will all begin in, of course, non-physical places, in the ether, in the metaphysical, before it becomes a physical thing. By the time it's physical, it is well into the process of whatever instigated it, and it's been developing, and it has been ignored, pushed aside, deferred, what have you. And so we will reach to what we are programmed and conditioned to believe and rely on, which is the cult of the medics in the West, and pretty much the rest of the world. This narrative perpetuates and proliferates across modern civilization. And it's all based on fiction. It's all based on lies. So to me, why homeopathy makes the most sense, why it is at least a foundational place, a foundation with which to build any sort of curative, healing, therapeutic modalities, is because it is based on the individual. And one thing that was said in this interview, which inspired me to want to speak on it and share my opinions and perspective, is the idea that there are, thousands of remedies. Just like in the pharmaceutical industry, there are thousands and perhaps hundreds of thousands of products and alleged protocols, fixes, remedies, etc. The problem with that particular perspective and what it makes me think of immediately is that it's an inversion again. There aren't thousands of remedies. In any particular individual, at any particular place in their life, any day of the week, any second of their existence, they are in a particular state. Mind state, energetic, spiritual, whatever you think of it, again, holistically. Everything about them in that particular moment is in a particular place where only one remedy would work, right? Something that is based on principles and the essences that are universal, whatever it might be. And again, I don't understand enough about homeopathy to name particulars, but this is a fundamental, elemental thing, principle thing, as I try to speak about it in all my videos. Whatever essences are used to derive any sort of medicine, treatment, what remedy, what have you, there is only one for that particular person, that particular moment of time in their life that could be in any way useful to them. And I hope that makes sense, because this is the complexity and simplicity all wrapped up in one. And this is why cartel medicine fails us every single day of the week, because you're going to go for tests and labs and blood work and what have you. And these things are only, again, relevant in the moment that you take that test, in the moment that you get those x-rays, labs, whatever it is. They're only relevant in that particular day, in that particular mindset, based on how you slept the night before, based on what you've been eating for the last 35 years, how you've been living, how you've been stressing, all the cumulative things that have led the billions and billions of choices and experiences, thoughts, and otherwise that have led to who you are in that exact moment is all you get. You're getting a snapshot, like a photograph. Just why, as we can say, a photograph is worth 1,000 pictures, right? Why is that? Because there's 1,000 interpretations from every single person, regardless of their level of understanding and training and conditioning and indoctrination. Every single one of them is going to look at that completely different. And so there, of course, you have 1,000 remedies for that particular photograph, that snapshot. I hope you understand what I'm saying here. There's a severe lack of information based on any blood work lab test that you do on the day. And I haven't done any processes or gone through any of these things myself, but the bits and pieces that I've heard, people get their tests in labs and they have to wait weeks. Days is bad enough, but weeks for results, right? And you're not the same person 5 minutes after the fact. You're not the same person 5 days, right? And you're going to wait days or weeks or months to get results and lab results, and based on that snapshot of who you were in that moment, oh, this is what we see, this is the diagnosis, and this is the prognosis. Are you kidding? How can that ever possibly be good for you? How can that possibly help you? It needs to be reframed with a completely different perspective, a completely different psychology and emotionality. And I think, based on my opinion, based on what I know and understand about how this world works, homeopathy is one of the few places where you can actually start with some foundational, essential principles with which to glean and begin an actual earnest process toward healing, toward assisting the body to do what it is already in the process of doing. Any and all inputs are going to either interrupt or enhance. And how the hell are you going to know unless you truly, intimately know what's going on, unless you truly, deeply understand all the processes, how these energy systems work, how emotionality affects you from every second to every other second? How are you going to possibly know what remedy might be good for you in that moment to rectify that particular situation, which is already in the process of healing and remedying itself? Because that is what our bodies do. We have built-in chemical factories. We have built-in pharmacies. We have built-in regulation systems. We have automatic systems that keep us alive and thriving and moving forward and healing and adapting by default. So if you're going to consider inputs of any kind, why? Based on what information? Based on what understanding? Based on confidence and trust in your system, in your body, in your avatar, in your by default healing and adapting system, or based on fear, terror, paranoia, scarcity, lack, based on what the cult of the medics has been programming into for your whole life? Which option? Because only one's going to work. One is going to rely on you being a lifetime customer, and one is going to rely on you being referred to specialists for any particular organ or limb or body function, which of course is going to just lead to further problems, because your body is one system. It's not just a wrist that's hurting. It's a wrist attached to a hand, to an arm, to a torso, to the rest of your body, right? It's what's going on inside, in the ligaments, in the blood, in the water, in the elements, in the minerals, inside your body. The entire system is leading to a sore wrist, sore knee, what have you. So to think that a surgery to rectify a certain ache that's only been getting worse over, the years and decades, that you're suddenly going to fix something by either removing it, modifying it, replacing it with something artificial, is ludicrous based on what I've outlined already in this video. Just think about that. There is the sun. Do you see the sun? So I hope I've made my point clear here. This is an important thing because it keeps getting co-opted by the system. It keeps getting co-opted by the parasitic and predatory nature of the realm of these established narratives, of these established entities, corporations, institutions, right? It's so easy for us to defer to these things that we've been conditioned all of our lives to trust in and believe in, because we trust them and their expertise and the years of study and training that they went to, and the hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt that they have, because who would do something like that unless they came out of it the other side as professionals, as extremely knowledgeable and proficient about everything about the human system, about everything about how energy works, psychology, spiritual, metaphysical, etheric, right? Shouldn't they know all of these things? Shouldn't they have a basic understanding of how the human body works, how it reacts and responds to every emotion, how it reacts and it responds to every environment that you put yourself in, to every person that you interact with, to every decision that you make in your life, to every hope and fear, every joy and every disappointment, every love and every hate? How does cartel medicine account for these things? It doesn't. It protocolizes, it invents products based on some sort of natural derivative. It butchers and bastardizes health and medicine. Your life is your medicine, and you've heard other people speak of this probably. One of them is, of course, Dr. Cassie Wuthrich, I believe. She's gone back to her maiden name. Find her. I'll link it below. Listen to a handful of her videos. It'll change your life. It'll change your perspective, because it will remind you, it will help you remember fundamental, essential truths. And they're far simpler. It might seem complex. They make it sound complex. That's why they wear the white coats and the lab coats, and they spend hundreds of thousands and are in debt for most of their lives. And most of these people in that field, you will outlive them, because they have constant stress and angst and paranoia and fear for the very industry that they purport to recommend, support, and work through. The indoctrination, how the process they go through for training to literally to be destroyed and remade in the image of the machine, right? They suppress their natural humanity. They suppress their empathy. They suppress their imagination. They suppress the organic to be subsumed and replaced by the machine, protocols, products, chemicals, replacements, and the synthetic overlays that are required for their multi-trillion-dollar industry to persist and exist. They're not in the business of healing and remedy. They're in the business of profit and lifetime customers. So consider that. Consider homeopathy. Educate yourself. Take my opinions, take whatever you get from this particular video, and as a starting place and as a reminder of the simplicity of these things. It is made and artificially made to seem complex, but it's a beautiful, harmonious, natural, organic thing. We weren't designed broken by default. We weren't designed incorrectly. We weren't designed such that we need injections of things as soon as we're out of the womb. Are you kidding me? Just snap out of it. Right? Let go of that fear. Let go of that nonsense paradigm. Let go of the indoctrination and the propaganda. Start fresh. Start reeling yourself back in. Step back and observe the narrative for what it is. It's based on big damn lies. It's based on fear and weaponizing your emotions and psychology against you for the sake of profit, control, etc. Have a good one.
It's been coming down every other day, but they tell me we are in drought season. That's not my story, not my reality. No matter what you force my eyes to see, and the sky is falling right on top of me, but they tell me it's for the greater good that